All right, as we get started here, I want to give a couple of caveats for the next day and a half here, or a couple days. First one here is to emphasize in strong terms as possible that this is not an engineering team. This is not an engineering project. So you're hearing about a lot of technology that we are using across this network, but it is for very applied reasons. So we are very much driven by, we want to collect these metrics, this data at scale across the entirety of the country, where if possible. I mean, our aspirations are to grow, and to be able to do that, we cannot do that without quite a bit of technology. So anyway, I say that because I have nothing but respect. I interact with a lot of engineering teams where the motivation is oftentimes, we just want to develop new tech. And those are really fun projects to participate in, but that's not what this is. And so we're trying to take technology at times where there are holes in the technology available to do that at scale. That's where we've engaged. We've gone out, we found engineers to help develop the solution so that we can do this at scale. And so that's some of the things you're going to be hearing about today, and you'll be seeing some of that technology as it comes online. It's because the science of what we were trying to do across this network had holes in what was available, technologically available. Sometimes the technology was available, but it wasn't cheap enough. So a good example is, you'll hear a little bit of today about a thing to detect water stress in plants. And we wanted to be able to do that at all the sites across the network at some point. Well, we could do that with a thermal camera right now, but those thermal cameras are $30,000 a piece. And so we can't do that. We can't deploy $30,000 cameras across a couple hundred sites across America. And so, the structure of who we are as a team means that we need light and tight technology as well, not just light and tight protocols. We need light and tight, low cost technology can be deployed at scale. And like Stephen really highlighted, that's what's going to allow us to take some of this technology and make on-farm toolkits that are available outside of just our network. They might be available to NRCS and to extension agents and to farmers themselves at some point. We're also using a lot of technology here just because of maintaining those data flows. So, and I want to say up front, we work very hard at maintaining these data flows. Are they perfect every time? We're going to find hiccups, and we will rapidly work on fixing those hiccups for you. But we can't do it in the days like we used to, right? You guys could all email me the files and we'll see if we can glue them together. Well, this scale, that's not possible. We added over 4 million rows of water sensor data this last year to the database. Well, once we're in next year, this is when SASCAP partners all start coming in. We're going to be looking at dozens of millions of rows of data points on that every year coming in. And that's just one metric. So across all of these metrics, the amount of data inflow is huge. It has to be done in an automated way. So anyway, I want to thank you. We're going to talk. We know that we're asking a lot in terms of technological engagement. We think, though, that it also has value for you and for your team members and for your graduate students and your postdocs, whoever you have on this project. This is where we're going as an industry. I mean, if you're training students right now, you need to be training them in this, because big data is coming to agriculture. This is going to be a part of their career for the remainder of their time in this field. And so we hope that the exposure of being a member of this team will really aid you in those efforts. Oh, sorry, next. My button doesn't work. So let's talk about some of these technologies and where they exist right now in the network. So first of all, a lot of these technologies I want to highlight. This is a complicated slide here, and I just want to spend some time on it, talking it through. And thank you, Sarah, for creating this slide. I actually loved it when I saw it yesterday, because I think it captures so much of how we're using these beta tests, how we're using the various technologies across the different work that we do. So I'll highlight, first of all, we've got it mentioned on here that we're using on-farm. We're using these technologies sometimes in CE1 or in CE2, and it shows the timelines in which some of these have gotten started. So some of this technology that we're talking about here today got started before SASCAP got written or conceptualized. So, We had a water cap before this. We had CIG funding, 5 years ago they got started. And so some of those technologies and ideas are getting transitioned in, got transitioned into SASCAP when SASCAP got written. SASCAP also identified other metrics and other science that we needed to do for which we did not have the low-cost technology to do at scale. And so that has started the process of getting that technology developed and getting it beta tested in time to hit our network along this 3-year time trajectory that we're taking data together. I also highlight though, you notice how we put out there 2024, 2025, it's very much our intention that we find future funding sources for this as well. We really think that the PSA network as a whole is establishing a sense of collaboration, the technology, the skills, the people that are able to do this type of collaboration. And we would like to very much continue and invite all of you along for the ride as long as we can go until Stephen gets tired of writing grants. I don't know how far that goes. If we look at the stories that you're going to hear today, put them into this slide here. We're going to spend some time walking you through the soil moisture sensing systems, R&D, how we got to alpha and beta testing, just as an example, just to give you an idea of what we do to get these things deployed at scale. It's also meant to be an invitation. We are looking for beta testers in 2021 to work on some of these technologies that will be hitting the network in the next year. And so, as we do that, we want to describe that process very thoroughly for you and make sure that anybody who thinks about wanting to be a beta tester knows what level of work and what level of commitment that is. But nobody has signed, there's no implied demand of any of you. This is a voluntary effort to be a part of the beta testing network where you see that you would like to give. We also, I'll mention, I think Stephen highlighted this beta testing of technology, which really comes out of hardware and software development. We are using that same mindset for protocols. We are using that same mindset for every dashboard that goes back to a farmer, or every dashboard that goes back to a technician. At this scale, anything we do needs to be beta tested before it hits prime time, before it hits the entirety of the network. That's how we, make things look as polished and as clean as we possibly can before it hits the whole network. Now, is that perfection? No. Things hit the whole network and they still have to be fixed. People who were part of the on-farm trials know that we still had to fix some things about the farmer database for signing up growers, and we had to fix that as quick as we could this summer. We finally have that. We think most of those bugs fixed and operational. So, just remember that we all have gotten these very high expectations of technology these days. There's so much technology in every aspects of our lives, but nothing of what we use is perfect, right? I mean, my last iPhone, I remember that's why I switched to Android at the time. Nothing against iPhone users, but I paid a lot of money for that phone, and the maps thing didn't work for a darn. The email thing I thought was terrible. The calendar was even terrible, and I thought, why can this $1 trillion company not give me apps that work? And I got frustrated, but that was me having too high of expectations. These things are hard, and PSA is not Apple. So work with us, be a part of making those improvements, and just we appreciate your patience on all of them. I think I'm ready for the next slide. Sarah, help me here. Am I missing anything on this slide that you think we should highlight?
Well, we just pulled up that we wanted to highlight that we will be polling for interested beta testers. And so on this particular slide, you can see that in 2021, we have 3 techs hitting the network for beta testing: Weeds 3D, StressCam, and the Forage Box. They've been under R&D, they've been alpha tested, but they need some beta testing before they hit the network in 2022. So after you hear some of the talks coming up highlighting those technologies, we're gonna poll you guys for interest to see if you want to be a beta tester.
Absolutely. Great point. If we haven't scared you to death by that point as to what beta test, we're going to have testimonials from some beta testers here, so we'll see how much they scare us all. All right, next. Again, I think I highlighted this, we really have this for everything. Some of our external partners who are with us here today are really helping us, and we invite anybody in the SASCAP as well. Help us test the farmer products. That's where it really is essential. We want to make sure that when we roll out farmer products, that we've had farmers actually looking at them and reflecting back to us. And that's heavy sociological work right there. Somebody has to be in the presence of a grower and saying, hey, what do you think of this? And what do you get that, getting that feedback is difficult, but it's so necessary. Again, just highlight again, to be a beta tester, we really prefer that you have not ever interacted with what we're talking about. So this technology, you can have beta tested something else, but like the less background knowledge you have about a particular technology, the better it is for you are as a beta tester, as a user group.